Exception handling. Exception is one of the powerful mechanism to handle the runtime errors so that normal flow of the application can be maintained. First, what is exception? Exception is an abnormal condition. In Java, exception is an event that disturbs the normal flow of the program. It is an object which is thrown at a runtime. So what will happen when exception will come? Okay, rest of the code will not execute. For example, I have 1,000 lines of code, error in the 200th line. Okay, so the code will be executed up to 200th line and stop the execution. So to avoid that, we have to throw that exception and the rest of the code has to execute. Okay, only that line we can't execute. For example, if you go to the ATM machine, so I have plenty of methods in that, 5 to 10 methods or 20 methods also. See, one method is not executing, in the sense ATM has to work. Okay, only avoid that one method, remaining method has to execute, right? So that's it. That is nothing but exception handling, right? Now, exception handling. See, exception handling is one of the powerful mechanism to handle the runtime errors so that normal flow of the application can be maintained. Okay, right? Exception, if exception, okay, so exception occurs, what will happen? The code will be, the execution of the rest of the code will be stopped. Okay, that we have to avoid with the help of exception. Now, see.
Okay.
You observe here. Here I have 10 lines of code. I have exception at the 5th line. Okay. Rest of the code will be not executed. That is 6 to 10 will not run. If performs exception handling, rest of the code, okay, rest of the code, exception will be executed. Okay, that's why we use the exception handling. Right. Types of exceptions. There are mainly 2 types of exceptions. Generally, 2 main exceptions are checked and unchecked. Okay, but Sanmai Christian say that we have 3 exceptions actually. Even error also, okay, considered as exception. Error means if error comes, okay, error comes, that will not irrecoverable. Okay, for example, virtual machine error, okay, system errors, these all are considered errors. So the main thing you have to discuss, checked and unchecked. Okay. See, some of the exceptions may come or may not come. We have to provide the exception. Those are checked exceptions. See. These classes extend throwable classes except runtime exceptions. These are not runtime exceptions. An error, known as a check exception. IO SQL. See, when we are writing the SQL, if exception comes or not, okay, compulsory we have to provide the exception handling. That will ask you, please provide the exception handling. Okay. See, these type of exceptions are called, okay, checked exceptions. See, I know that which exception also will come. Okay. But actually, there is no exception. That is not enough. We have to provide the exception handling. Okay. So even though we don't have any exception, we have to provide the exception handling here. For SQL exception, IO exception, we have to provide the exception. I will show you when I go for these topics. Okay. So these are called checked exceptions. Now unchecked, unexpectedly. Okay. We cannot expect these exceptions. Okay. So these classes that extend the runtime exceptions are known as the checked exceptions. Okay. Unchecked exceptions, arithmetic exception, null pointer, array index of boundary. Okay. See, array index of boundary. These all are the comes under the unchecked exceptions. These are I cannot predict whether exception will come or not. Okay. So these are known as the unchecked exceptions. Okay. Next, error. Error is irrecoverable. Out of memory error, virtual machine error, assertion error. These are all the next. Common scenarios where exception may occur. So there are some scenarios. Okay, first one is arithmetic exception. When it will come? See, 50 by 0. When we have by 0 exception, okay, it becomes infinite, right? These type of exceptions is called arithmetic exceptions. If you don't provide the exception handling here, so it will stop the execution. Okay, right. Next scenario where null pointer exception. String s is equal to null. System dot out dot println. S dot null. Null pointer exception. Okay. Without having any value, if I try to find out the length means what? It will show the error. That is called null pointer exception. Number format exception. So I gave the string. See, generally, we are converting string type of data to other data. That means so, okay, we are not giving the string data here. We are not giving we are not giving the string data. When I enter the integer data, that we have to convert into the integer data one. So for that purpose, you can use the type conversion. If I have particular string I declared, if I try to convert that into the integer value, it's not possible. It's not possible. Okay, so not possible. Remember this. Okay, string s is equal to abc. Already I have string fixed string. If I want to convert that into the integer, it's not possible. So when I am entering the value, it might take as a string, okay, because of command line arguments of the strings. In that case, okay, if I apply the typecasting, it will load, correct? So now here causes, okay, number format exception. Next scenario where array index out of bounds exception. If you are inserting any value in the wrong index, it will be result array index of bound. For example, I have array, so five elements, okay, five elements means yeah, 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 indexes will be there. I try to give the 10th index. We don't have 10th index. What will happen? So array index out of bound exception will come. Okay. Even if you give the 5 also, it will give the array. I have to give any index in between 0 to 4 only. Right? Okay. So these are the exceptions here. We'll see how the exception will come. Right? Now before that, what are the keywords used in the exception handling? Try, catch, finally throw those. Okay. Try block. Enclose the code that may be throw an exception in try block. It must be used within the method and must be followed by the either catch or finally block. Syntax of the try block. Okay. Try, catch. Syntax of the finally. Okay. Try finally. Okay. So this is understood when you go for the IO concept. Okay. Right. Next, try catch is mandatory for every program. Okay. It's catch block. Catch block is used to handle the exception that must be used after the try block. Right. Next. Okay. I'll write one program here.